Life Club with Tashima Jones, the podcast, brought to you by Tashima Jones Media. Keep in mind that this content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Welcome to another episode of Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Today we will be speaking about relationships, survival mode, and trauma bonding. There are many relationships, including family, friends, and intimate partnerships, that are joined together out of necessity versus genuine love and like. In this session, we will explore a few reasons why and healthy ways to navigate authentic connections. As always, when we know the definition of a thing, we are better equipped to using it properly. Up first, we have relationship. Relationship is defined as a sense or state of being related. It is how one thing or person is connected to the other. Next, we have survival mode. Survival mode is a term that describes chronic, unresolved stress. Lastly, there is trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is described as a connection where two people are joined together while one or both of them is in an unhealed emotional state or mindset. Okay, for starters, let's get some insights on what a relationship is. The best way to describe a relationship, at least according to me, is as a ship heading to a specific destination. And on that ship are people who are heading in the same direction. The ship represents oneness or being joined together, while the destination is how those who are joined together relate to one another. Healthy relationships are built by healthy people who support each other on the way to progress. Other characteristics of healthy relationships include respect, acceptance, and patience, as well as communication. With that being said, we have to speak about trauma bonding and survival mode because many relationships suffer due to the fact that the two people involved have very different destinations and they are seeking to force one another onto their individual boats, or one may board the other's boat due to fear, stress, and survival. Instead of waiting at the dock for their boat to arrive, they get on someone else's in hopes of just making it through. And what a rocky trip that becomes. As mentioned, trauma bonding is a connection or a relationship that is fused together by emotional turmoil and pain. It may look like two people being on a boat called trauma without any direction. Other instances may include one person who may board someone else's boat with way too much unhealed baggage. Either way, in doing so, an unhealthy attachment is formed. When the ship is called trauma, more trauma is created. And in the case where an unhealed person is on a healed person's boat, it oftentimes concludes with the idea of just simply growing apart. This is why it is important to establish and navigate relationships from a healed place. It is not to say one has to be in a state of perfection to have healthy relationships, but it is to say that a person should be heading in the direction of healing itself. Now, let's take a look at survival mode and its impact on peaceful connections. There are plenty of relationships rooted in one or two people simply mentally and emotionally surviving from day to day. In these types of relationships, people feed off of each other versus fuel one another for greater. Other characteristics in this type of relationship are found in the parties trying to survive one another. So an example of the former is staying in a relationship for financial benefits. Money is one of the top reasons why relationships don't last. And normally, if the relationship starts because of money, it will eventually end because of it too. Another example is surviving a partner's ways of being, be it infidelity, disloyalty, or plain disrespect. Usually, people remain in this type of relationship for a fear of leaving or the fear of not being able to have a specific lifestyle upon leaving. So, how do we navigate and establish healthy and authentic relationships from the start? There are 3 major points. First, it starts with being in a clear state of mind and emotional stability, exactly from where you are. Whatever your relationship status is at this moment, or the dynamic of your relationship, be it family, friendship, or in the workplace, check in with yourself and where you are mentally and emotionally. Oftentimes, relationships are tarnished because people don't check in with themselves, and they tend to automatically place responsibility on another person. Relationships are made up of the 2 people involved, meaning the health and wellness of that relationship is stemmed from both people. The next thing is checking your intentions. If your intentions aren't pure, they have the ability to taint the relationship. And if they are pure, they have the ability to make that same relationship thrive. Last but not least is honesty. Being honest with yourself is vital. When we are honest with ourselves, we are more capable of being honest with other people. We fight less with others, and we create safe spaces for one another. We are able to navigate that ship with integrity and peace, knowing where we are heading and who actually belongs on the ride with us. Here is your life work. Based on this session, set aside at least 5 minutes to reflect on and consider the following. Survey your relationships and consider if they are A, healthy, B, based on survival, or C, bonded by trauma. Ask what your usual attachment style is out of the 3 mentioned. Consider how much emotional and mental energy is invested in the majority of your relationships. Do you find more energy is being used for healthy relationships or those based on survival or trauma? Now, consider your mindset and emotional well-being. When is the last time you checked in with yourself? Have you been intentional about establishing healthy relationships? And either way, what are your intentions? Last but not least is, have you been honest with yourself about the health of your connections? If so, what are some next steps to supporting the health of your relationships? If not, ask yourself why. Be sure to journal your experience and feel free to share that experience in the comments section. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and for that, I am truly grateful. Be sure to share and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are tuning in from, and find me on YouTube at Tashima Jones Media for our 1-minute meditations and other video content. You're also invited to visit tashimajones.com for life coaching sessions, books, articles, courses, and free downloads. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon.